and we should be live. So hello there to Jerome and Coda and Chuck and Vaxer and Crow, Roger, SK Gamer, Dave. Got everybody before the button actually came over and said that we were live. There is a poll in the chat because it's a new feature and I like to mess around with new features. So I'm asking if people are going to be picking up Madden 22 on Stadia. I'm just curious what people think. Lloyd, happy
Yes,
Father's
sir.
Day. Are you ready to start start a podcast?
I think I am.
All right, I'm going to hit a button.
Sounds good.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Stadiacast. I'm Bill, that's Lloyd. Happy Father's Day, Lloyd.
Happy Father's Day, Bill, and happy Father's Day to all the Stadia dads out there. Everybody, hope you're having a great Sunday. Hopefully this is your one request that you made of your family was, I want an hour where I can just listen to Stadiacast uninterrupted. We're here for you.
That's right. Before we do get started with the show, I want to let everybody know that there's lots of ways that you can support the show. If you're here with us live, you can use the super chat feature. If you're not here with us live, you can use the join button or the applaud button. There's all these buttons everywhere, but the most important thing that you can do is click on subscribe, click on the thumbs up, and turn on notifications. That way you're notified each and every time we post something new. Let's get started, Lloyd. We do record the show live every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. And the first thing that I always ask, Lloyd, is what have you been playing, my friend?
I have been playing exactly 0 video games on Stadia this E3 week. My time has been so busy with other things. I have been playing games, just haven't played anything on Stadia. I've been doing more family gaming time, so we played some Minecraft and stuff like that. But that, other than Game Builder Garage on my Nintendo Switch, trying to get through all the tutorials, I haven't really had any time for gaming this week, which is kind of sad, seeing as it was E3 week. You'd think this would be the time where you want to play games after watching games being talked about on screen. Yeah, that wasn't the case for me this past week. How about you? What have you been playing?
So I've been playing more Chronos. I'm not going to get into any more details because I've been talking about it for the past couple of weeks. I'm stuck. I'm stuck in the game. I got to a boss, and this boss, I did a live stream. If you missed that live stream, I'm sure that you can find it in if your notifications are turned on or whatever. But I did a live stream and I played for, I don't know, it was like 3 hours. I made some progress. There was this incredibly cool puzzle that took me forever to figure out. You know those little puzzles with where you slide the tiles around and there's like one empty place. I had to solve one of those puzzles like multiple times in order to progress through the game. And then when I got through all of that stuff, there's this big boss, and this big boss just has killed me over and over and over again. And I've like gone online, and this is not like the most popular game in the world, so there's not a lot of like a lot of the strategy guides are like, don't get hit by his big attacks, and I'm like, thanks for nothing. So I was trying to find how to beat this boss, and I couldn't find anything. And so I put it down, come back to it again, fight that boss again. He keeps killing me. My character, for those of you that don't remember, every time you die in the game you get a year older, and my character is now nearly 70.
Oh my God.
I'm almost 70 years old in the game, and like I'm old and withered and wrinkled, and my arcane abilities are really, really strong. But in order to use those arcane abilities, you gotta land hits on the boss. And so when I hit the boss, I'm not hitting them often enough because I'm spending all of my time being super defensive because he just hits so hard. And so I'm unable to build up my magic by landing hits, so I can't utilize my magic because it's just never filling up. And so I'm in this weird conundrum where I'm almost thinking, man, I should have gotten here when I was younger in the game. And I'm very, very frustrated. But I love this game and I want to finish it because I'm absolutely loving it. But this one boss is incredibly hard. And I mean, it is a Souls-like game, so that is to be expected. But I feel like I've completely hit a wall, which brings me to a question for you. And it's not necessarily Stadia related, but has
Okay.
there been a game where you've just hit a wall? And people in chat, feel free to answer as well. Um, has there been a game where you've just hit a wall and you just could not progress after that one spot?
There has been. There's been games. I'm trying to think of a couple where I got to a point where I'm just like, okay, I guess I'm bad at video games now, and I just put the game down and never returned to it. I've had experiences with the Souls games. I played Dark Souls and Demon Souls, and told myself, yeah, I'm never going to play these types of games. I'm just not a fan of, you screw up once on a dodge and you're dead. I just don't. I don't like that at all. But yeah, we can definitely do that, Bill.
Okay. We're just going to pause, and Lloyd's going to answer this question in just a second. I'm going to have him reconnect to me on Discord because what we've been using right now, it looks terrible. Okay.
Yeah.
So don't go anywhere, everybody. He's going to connect via Discord. I just got to hit a button. He's going to call me, and I'm not going to be ready. Come on. Oh, see, I knew it. He's calling me. And pop out. And I got to remember to edit that. Camera to base.
You'll have to make sure to send me the right video source too.
Okay.
So I'm not spying on you again this week.
All right. Continue with your answer while I get this set up.
Sorry, I'm just trying to turn down my brightness. For some reason, switching over to Discord just destroyed everything. Okay, there we go. I don't know what did that. That was really weird. Okay. Yeah, so I have rage quit, or I've hit walls many times. The games that I'm most likely to quit, in my experience, have been Souls likes. I've tried Demon Souls, Dark Souls, all those games. Was not a fan. Playing those games told me that I'm not gonna like Souls like. But then I played Bloodborne, and for some reason I was okay with it, okay at that. And I got to a point in the game where I just had to stop, just like you're doing with this game. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. But I have two questions for you, Bill.
Yeah.
My first question is, like, is this game like a representation of life? Like when you finally get everything figured out, you're like on death's door. Is that what this thing is? Supposed to be like some sort of analogy for how we live our lives? Because that's pretty interesting.
That's a great question. I don't know. The problem is that I started playing the game and then I put it down for, I don't know, like 2 months, and then I picked it back up. So I don't remember any of the story stuff. It doesn't seem like a game that is super steeped in story. I think it's more along the lines of the kind of game where you're just supposed to figure things out as you go. But I'm not really sure what's going on, and I'm fine with that. It's just got good combat and cool mechanics. What was your next question?
My next question is, when you hit the ripe old age of 70 like you had, do you actually have to go on a quest to find the tennis balls for your walker, or do they come with the walker when you're granted that when you hit the ripe old age of 70?
You do get a new ability every decade, and I think at 70 it's called "Get Off My Lawn." So you could just say "Get off my lawn," and all of the monsters will move away from you. So you just run through, you press X, "Get off my lawn," and they run away.
Amazing. I love it. I love it.
All right. So we haven't been playing a whole lot. So there's that. I did play a little bit of Madden 21. Like I played a odd game because I was getting B-roll for a video that I was posting. And then I was like, well, I might as well play a game while I've got to load it up. That game runs really, really well on Stadia. I fully expect that Madden 22 is going to run really, really well on Stadia. It is now up for pre-order. So let's transition to the news. Madden 22 is now confirmed for Stadia to be day and date with all of the other platforms. We're going to be getting at the same time. It seems like that's happening more often, where publishers are able to hit that start date with Stadia at the same time because they have more experience with the platform. Although, to be fair, when we're talking about a game like Madden, like how much did they really change from 21 to 22? Did they have to do all that much work in order to get 22 ready for all of the different platforms? Because let's be honest, EA kind of phones it in when it comes to these yearly franchises. Sorry, EA. That's just what
Mhm.
happens, it seems. What do you
Yeah.
think, Lloyd? Well, first off, are you going to pick this up?
I didn't play a lot of the last Madden that came to Stadia. I played maybe a dozen games or whatever. It was so late in the year where I was like steeped in hockey because my Jets were going far in the pre postseason, like right the run up to the postseason, and then they were killing in the postseason, and then they got swept in the second round and made me super sad. But for hockey was in a weird place. It was happening at a weird time. So all the normal sports stuff that I would watch or play was all pushed to the side. So hopefully that'll change a little bit with Madden. I do love Madden. I don't think in my life I've ever picked up Madden 2 years in a row. Like most EA Sports games, I'll buy it and then I'll buy it in like 2 or 3 years once the next big feature comes in. Because it seems like for years, maybe not right now, but for years with the EA Madden team, they would have a great new feature like you can now independently move the camera from your body. And then the next year, it's just like little feature updates, like tiny little things. And then the following year, it's another big franchise edition. So it'll be like every 2 years they come up with big stuff for the game. I haven't looked too much into what that big stuff could be for Madden 22. I'm hopeful that there's something new there. But what it makes me there's a couple questions that makes me ask that this is coming to Stadia. One, is this one of the promised games that EA had promised Google? Like, we're going to bring you 5 games. Is Madden 21 and then Madden 22, does that count as 2 games to get them out of their contract or whatever, or part of their contract? I'm not saying this is something that anyone's trying to back up from. And then the next question is, if Madden is coming and it's coming day and date and it's being advertised already, why aren't more publishers doing that? If their game is coming to Stadia, get it up as a pre-order, get it out there, let people know that this amazing franchise you're excited for is coming day and date on. I would be really, really happy if more publishers did that.
Yeah, I mean, you ask important questions, and the one that you started with, is this game number? Would it be 4, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
number
is
4.
this game number 4? Um, Maybe. I think there's definitely a possibility. Why they said we're bringing 5? I mean, EA said we're bringing 5 games, but that doesn't mean that they signed a contract that says, "Hey, we will bring 5 games to Stadia." It just means that they announced we've got 5 games that we're bringing to Stadia. That doesn't
Yeah,
mean
it
that
could be
they
either.
won't bring 6 games to Stadia.
Exactly. Yep.
Um, it just means that they've committed to their customers that they will bring 5 games to Stadia.
Yep.
I feel like counting Madden twice, and I'm sure FIFA twice, is
Mm,
incredibly disingenuous. You know what I
100%.
mean? I feel like,
100%.
come on, they're not really 2 games when you're talking about Madden 21 and Madden 22. And,
Hmm.
I'm sure hardcore Madden fans will disagree with me. That's okay. I'm not a sports guy. But
Yep.
to me, I'm not interested in picking up the like Madden 22, because let's be honest, it's pretty much the same game with a roster update, and that's the thing that
Right.
people have been complaining about forever.
Yep.
Happy Cloud Gamer in chat says, I think EA is testing numbers for Stadia right now. I put out a video earlier this week where I talked about Madden coming, and I said, once you've got the engine running, the you've done most of the hard work. Like, all of the hard work that comes with porting a game, a majority of that hard work is getting the engine that you use running on the platform that you're porting to. And once they have
Yep.
that done, it's financially a good idea to make that port. Now, somebody might say, all right, well, Madden runs the Frostbite engine and Battlefield runs the Frostbite engine. So why isn't Battlefield ported to Stadia? Well, first off, we don't know that it's not, although I'm
Yep.
starting to think it's not. But my guess is because video games take a really long time. Battlefield has been in development for a very long time. And my guess is the next Battlefield will probably come to Stadia because they will have worked out all of this stuff This one, maybe not, because development began a long time ago, and maybe it's too hard for them
Mhm.
to go back and change things now. Now, again, I'm not a developer, so I could be completely wrong. I could be completely wrong about this, but that's just what my gut tells me. And I got a big
Yeah.
gut, so maybe I'm right. What do you think about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I can really see both sides of the 5 game thing, or why this game is here, why this game isn't. Like, we saw the leaks from Capcom where they were promised, they were given a bunch of money to get these games ported over. Maybe a financial contract was made between EA and Stadia to do something similar. I don't think so, but it's possible. A lot of that stuff happens in the game industry. But they did say 5 games, and to me, that meant 5 separate franchises. I hope it's 5 separate franchises, but we'll see what happens. As far as why Battlefield doesn't is not coming, I think there's a couple reasons. A lot of these games that may or may not be coming is that there's no crossplay for a lot of these franchises, and you'll have EA or Ubisoft. Well, Ubisoft brings everything. They're a bad example, but name a publisher. They're looking at this and they're like, okay, we might sell 10,000 copies on this platform. We might have 10% or 20% of those people stick around for the long haul. So at any point, there may be 1 or 2,000 people playing your game. That's not enough people for an active multiplayer lobby. So there might be some games that are have even been developed and are fully running on the platform, but they just don't want to bring it because they know that there just isn't enough people that are playing. Once crossplay becomes ubiquitous, where every game has it, it doesn't matter what platform you're on, I think a lot of this problem will go away because publishers want their game where like everybody will see it. If you're playing a game on a platform, they want the game in front of you, which is why early on in iOS we had like really bad versions of like the Madden games and Call of Duty, like really bad phone apps, because they wanted to put that name in front of gamers because there was a captive audience of gamers. So once Stadia continues to build an install base, not that there's an install base because you have it if you have a Google account. I get that. But once there's daily active users keeps ratcheting up and more games are crossplay, I think this issue where is it coming, is it not, is going to kind of go away. And hopefully more publishers are going to do what EA does, which is, hey, pre-order it now, get it on Stadia, buy it now. Tell people that if you want to play this game, you can play it on this platform, not just this other or these other platforms. Hopefully we get to that point in the near future.
Yeah, we have seen quite a few games where they don't mention Stadia at all, and then there's a Stadia blog post. They're like, "And this game's coming," and like the publisher never mentioned it, which is really strange. But then this was the complete opposite. Like
Mhm.
Stadia, Madden just showed up in the store. Google hasn't said anything. Like they didn't do a blog post about this at like they didn't say anything. That kind of flabbergasted me. Like, what do you think that's about?
Well, publishers have control over when games go live on the store, I guess. And they're like, hey, we're doing this. Let's just put it up. And I don't know, maybe there's a missed memo, or maybe no, someone didn't put the cover letter on the TPS report or something like that. Or it could just be that Google is fine with publishers being in control of their own messaging, and they can report it after the fact.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I'm fine with that. And we've
Mhm.
said a million times that publishers are in charge of their own timelines. But once it's been announced, like have somebody sit down and write up a blog post over at community.stadia.com that says, "Hey everybody, in case you missed it, here's the latest news." Although, I guess to be fair, the people who look at that post, those are people who like would listen to this show. Those are people who are pretty tuned in. They're probably on the subreddit. I'm sure that they already know that Madden's on there. So I don't know. Maybe my point doesn't make any sense, but I just think it's weird that they haven't said anything about this. The only well, you know what? Let's move on to speaking of this week in Stadia. We have this week in Stadia that was posted on the official um, uh, blog over at community.stadia.com, and in the keeping with the theme of sports, we got free play days are here. You can play PGA Tour 2K21 until June 21st. So that's until tomorrow. If you
Hmm.
haven't played this yet, it's really fun. Lloyd and I did a first look where we were playing together, and we had an absolute blast playing
Yeah,
golf together. The graphics are great.
100%.
Um, it's a really really fun game, and we even have a community. What are they called? It's like a guild, but
Club. I
what?
think they call them pro clubs. Clubs, I
No, a
think.
society. It's
Isn't
called
it?
a society. It's a
Society.
weird thing.
Ah, that's right.
We even
That's
have
weird.
like a nerd nest society that you can join. If you join our Discord, you can find out more about that. But
Hmm.
PGA Tour is free this weekend if you are a Stadia Pro member. I wish. Look, I like that they're trying to add value for pro members. I wish that they would
Hmm.
just say it's free this weekend for everybody, and that way people would try it and
Yeah.
play Stadia. I understand the reasoning of saying, okay, well, we got this game. We're gonna try and add some value to the pro membership. What are your thoughts on that, Lloyd? Do you think that they should
Um,
have made it for everybody or just for pro? Because I see both sides of the argument.
I I don't know. I don't mind that they gate the free play days behind a pro. It's kind of another bonus for having a pro membership. I like the fact that they release demos for everybody, though. I think demos are much better suited for anybody that wants to try it. Click this demo, play this demo. When there's demos, I think that makes more sense. I hope we get more of that in the future because I mean, there's no downloads, there's no nothing. There's just you click a link and you're playing the game. It's just such an amazing experience to get into a game. Having a lot more demos would be great. I fully 100% expected that we would have a bunch of demos on the Stadia store post E3. Nothing. So I don't know, man. But locking the PGA Tour stuff behind Pro, I'm okay with that. It totally makes sense, and that's how every other platform does it. When there's free play days for something, you need to have Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus or a Nintendo Switch Online account. So it's kind of the way the industry works.
You mentioned E3. That's another thing. The Stadia community blog, they didn't say anything about E3, and there were games that were announced for E3, and I'm sure, like, because they usually post this week on Stadia on Tuesday. I'm sure that they'll
Mhm.
post it on Tuesday, but
It'll be a wrap up.
yeah, but it seem odd that they wouldn't talk about, hey, by the way, you got this game coming to Stadia, you got this game. I mean, we already covered all that stuff last week. In fact, we covered that stuff, all that Ubisoft stuff, because Ubisoft came in swinging for Stadia.
They did. Yep.
We covered all of that stuff on last Sunday's show, and then on this week in Stadia, they talked about the PGA Tour free weekend and Life is Strange. They
Mhm.
didn't talk about anything else. They didn't talk about E3 at all. I'm so
Yeah.
confused by this.
They pulled a Sony. They took their ball and went home. We're not doing this E3 stuff. Yeah, I don't think they did that purposefully. There might be an E3 wrap up next Tuesday. It's kind of weird how they do their this weekend on Tuesday, but then they sometimes will drop other news blurbs
Mhm.
other times during the week. And yeah, like you said, we didn't get an E3 wrap up. Here's all the games that talked about Stadia on the show floor or the virtual show floor during all these pressers. We got none of that. Hopefully, that is something they talk about on Tuesday because well. Some people argue that E3 doesn't matter. That's just not reality. Getting the world's eyes focused on gaming for a week has always been an amazing thing for the industry. And all these publishers that are taking their ball and doing their own thing, it kind of it dilutes that a little bit. So I hope that next year at E3, when there's a show floor, there's a Stadia corner. People can go and play all the Stadia games, see all the latest announcement, play the demos live on the show floor. All that stuff would be fantastic. I just don't know if Google's that company. So I'm not going to be surprised if it doesn't happen, but man, I really wish it would happen.
Yeah, I just found it to be really strange that they didn't. It doesn't bother me that they didn't do a Stadia Connect or anything. I think that's fine. But when
Hmm.
other publishers are saying, here are a bunch of games we're bringing to Stadia. You want to amplify that signal in order
Right.
to let everybody know, yeah, if you want to play Far Cry 6, you can play it on Stadia. If you want to play um Riders Republic, you can play it on Stadia. Like all these games that they mentioned, Google didn't talk about. I just thought that was really really strange. DMO Renix in chat is asking, when is the next Stadia Connect? Nobody knows. We may
Mhm.
be in a time where they're not going to do those anymore, because every time that they've done them, they've been met with disdain and anger and vitriol from the community, because I, I'm not going to say everybody, but many people are super super entitled, and they get real mad when the things that they predict don't come true. All right. Let's go ahead and check out. Lloyd is typing to me on our show notes, and it is distracting.
Sorry.
All
I
right.
dropped it in Discord chat, but I know you have 18 windows in front of Discord, so
I
you probably
do.
didn't see it.
Go ahead and talk about this next thing, the couch thing. Go ahead.
So this is actually really cool. I mean, Gem is the man, the myth, the legend. Gem Bear Gaming found another Stadia thing. It's almost as if he has like a little birdie that wakes him up every morning instead of an alarm clock that talks about new Google stuff for him to look into. But this week we saw that Stadia has unveiled stadia.com/couch. And this is going to be a way for people to sign into couch co-op gaming. So when you go to stadia.com/couch, it's like it has join a multiplayer game, and it's like sign into your Google account. But then there's a game code thing that will pop up on the screen, which will allow you to punch in that code. So my Google account, my controller is linked to this code, and then the game code, or the friend that is playing the game that wants you to join on the couch enters 8675309, which is a great number. That's what I use for these types of screenshots. So props to Google for doing that, or maybe 9 to 5 Google if they did this one. But anyway, you punch that in, and they're joining your multiplayer game without you having to link your account, add someone through a sub account, any other weird stuff. This is going to mean that you can bring your game controller over to a buddy's house, pop up onto the couch, go to stadia.com/couch on your phone, link it, boom, you guys are playing Cake Bash together, or whatever games you want to play. This is fantastic. I was wondering how they could possibly make it so couch co-op could unlock achievements for everybody, and this seems like this might be the first step for this.
Yeah, because right now, if you want to sit down and play, I'll use Mortal Kombat as an example. If you sit down and I'm sitting down and I'm playing Mortal Kombat, and Lloyd walks into the room, first off, how'd you get into the country? Secondly, Lloyd walks into the room and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna play." He's just player two. He's not Dasme. He's player two. Nobody wants to be player two. They want to be their own account so that they can make progress either on their account or towards achievements, or maybe XP or something like that on their character. All of that stuff is very very important
Yep.
to players. It's so much so that there have been times where I've sat down to play a game, and my son is like, "Well, we can't both be signed in at the same time." And I say no. And so like I'll sign out so that we can still play together and he can still make progress on his stuff. That's really frustrating
Yep.
to have to do that. So I think that this is great. And I think good catch, Gem. If you don't follow his YouTube channel, it's Gem Bear Gaming, which does not flow off the tongue. All right, it's kind of, it makes me stutter a bit as I say it, but Gem Bear Gaming, follow his YouTube channel. He's always finding this stuff because he's a coder, and he picks all that stuff apart and searches for stuff and finds things.
Yep.
And I don't know. I don't think that guy sleeps.
I don't think so. I think he's actually a team of robots, actually, not just one
Like
person.
Wario 64.
Exactly. He's iteration 2 of the Wario 64 bot, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, This is going to be great. Like being able to log in at a buddy's house, or while you're playing at the library, or a food court, or on a bus, or something. If this is a way that you game with your friends, being able to bring all your stuff over, your preferences, your profile, your favorite avatar, your loadouts, depending on what game it is. This is great, and this seems like a much easier way to do it than pretty much any other console, where you have to like sign into your account on that console. That gets into issues with game ownership and licensing and all that other garbage. This is just a quick and easy way. Join up, link your account, boom, you're playing multiplayer. Of course, this is going from screenshots. We don't have any working example of this, but hopefully that comes really soon.
Right. I mean, if you go to, I want to make sure I get the URL right. If you go to stadia.com/couch,
Couch.
like it will bring up this
Mhm.
particular interface, but there's doesn't seem to be a way to get the code at this
There's
point.
no Yeah, there's no games that support it, so that little bit that kind of goes back and forth and communicates from the data center to this app, just isn't there.
Right.
For whatever reason, I'm sure there'll be games in the future that support this. That's why Google's working on it, and then all that stuff will just work. But yeah, I'm excited about this. This will be a great way for buddies to come over and do some multiplayer gaming. If like jump into Borderlands co-op and play each with our own specific loadouts, our skill trees, all that other fun stuff. That would be a really fun thing to
Well,
do.
I mean, Borderlands doesn't have split screen.
I'm just throwing out a random
Okay.
game that
Okay.
would have good support for stuff like this. Like being able
Understood.
to jump in with all your loadout would just be huge. So hopefully we'll get some games that support that in the future.
Hmm. All right, moving on to a tweet from Original Penguin. He found that the Android Stadia PWA, which I always forget what PWA is, something web app.
Progressive web app.
Progressive. That's I always forget what that part stands for. Is now rolling out, and look, this is on Android. It's already on iOS because they didn't have any other option on iOS because Apple wouldn't let them put the games into the actual app. This is basically now you can play Stadia in a web browser on Android, which is cool, I guess. I don't understand. Maybe you can explain this to me. Why people want this when they could just use the app? And I know that this has like voice chat, but if they just brought
Yep.
voice chat to the app, then that wouldn't really be an issue. Like, why do people want this? Can you explain that to
Um,
me?
I don't know why people on Android would specifically want this, other than the actual Stadia app. It makes sense on iOS why this is huge. For me, the important thing for this means that they have a progressive web app that works on iOS and Android, which means making sure that this code, because every browser is a little bit different, even though they're standards compliant browsers, and you may be running Firefox or Chrome or Edge on two different platforms, two different OSs, and they're supposed to be completely standards compliant and the same as each other. There's always little quirks. But if they have this web app working across platforms, this makes me more excited for this web app working really great under the Xbox browser, a browser on my Atari VCS, which I'm never going to buy, my browser on my fridge, like all the other stuff, right? That uses standards compliant a web browser engine to render this stuff and make it run. So I think it's just them solidifying the code behind making Stadia run through a web app, and I think it's huge. Touchscreen controls, all the other stuff that comes with it is great, but for me, I think it's the future. But of course, I'm not an Android user, so I've never. If this comes, it's not going to benefit me, but I think it's going to benefit everybody in the future.
People in chat are giving some reasons. So Jem from Gem Bear Gaming, he says the mobile app is a bit sluggish and slow. The PWA is super fast and snappy. All right,
It's
that's
great.
great. So I don't understand why Google doesn't just create a wrapper and insert the PWA into the Stadia app and make it fast and snappy. Like that's what I would do. And then I would do that. I don't know. I think I'll get to what I think in a second. Petter Games says it's good for people who have filed storage on their phone or if they have slower, older phones.
Right.
Okay, so those are great examples of why this is good and something that I would not get excited for because um, I'm on iOS, so I don't have the option to test the other way anyway. I didn't realize that it was super slow.
Right.
Here's how I feel about this. They should just ditch the apps altogether and just do it on a web page and just nuke the apps from space. We don't need them.
Well, I think you need them for account linking. You need them to link a new controller. So there's a reason for having the app, because there's no real OS for there's no box in front of you that has an OS to do all that stuff. So I understand why the app exists, but it would be nice if you could just link to it from the web app. So you
Right.
always use the web app, but if I hit the little dog burger thing and I go to settings, it would then shuffle over to the to the actual Stadia app to do all that background stuff. Hopefully in the future they can get all that linking controller stuff, all that stuff built right into the PWA, because that would be the best way to do it. But as it is right now, there's a reason why you need that other app. Hopefully that changes in the future.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying, but the reason I think that they should nuke it from space and do everything in the PWA app is because then everything would be standard, which is something you and I have been screaming about since
Yep.
Stadia launched, is that we have different UIs in different places. If everything is just the web browser,
Yep.
then every UI is exactly the same. And that
Thousand
means that
percent.
everybody knows exactly what to do every time they sit down to play a game on Stadia. Everything is the same every single time. That is a better experience.
100. I couldn't agree with you more. And I get why people are saying that there should only be this, but I think there's some legacy stuff that needs to be ported over. And the way Google oftentimes approaches problems is they get the low hanging fruit. They get all that stuff done. They make it super snappy and solid and bulletproof, and then they go and make sure that the leaves look great, and they prune the tree, and they put a nice little sign on it, Google's tree, and get it all nice and mow the lawn all around it and make it perfect. But that comes after. They like to kind of go in and get all the low hanging fruit out of the way. So I think that will happen in the future. I fully do. And if you download the app, it'll just bring you right over to the web app. It'll just be a wrapper so that people say, well, I can't see a Stadia. Do I have a Stadia in my house? I don't even have a Stadia app on my phone. It'll get rid of all those people from complaining.
Fair enough. I see that you added the Google Store to the show notes. You want to talk about that
Yeah.
real quick?
So this is really, really exciting. One of my favorite experiences was when I went to Manhattan for some social media conferences with a business partner of mine back in the day. I finally was able to go to the mothership, which was the Nintendo New York store. I was finally able to walk around that, talk to the people behind the desk, talk about podcasts, talk about Nintendo, talk about everything that I love about the company, which is so good. I love Nintendo, and be able to go there for that store was great. Well, now Google's opened their own store in NYC, so I guess I have to make another trip to Manhattan when the borders open, because in this thing they have little space egg cubby holes with Stadia games on display, posters up, controllers. You can walk in there and you can buy a Wasabi controller. You don't have to order it online or anything. I think this is going to be huge, and I don't know how many stores Google is planning in the future. If this is like a one and out, or if they're going to do kind of like the Apple Store thing, where they do a slow rollout to different countries, different locations, and then pretty much every major city of 1 million people or more will have one of them. I hope that happens, because getting Stadia out in front of people is important, because there isn't a box on the shelf at Best Buy. There isn't Stadia games advertised in your Toys R Us flyer up here in Canada, or your Target flyers down there in the States. So they've lost out a lot of passive advertising potential. Having stores, flagship stores in a lot of major cities would be fantastic. So congrats on Google for launching your first one. You need to get one up here in Winnipeg, because I want to go play around with all the new controllers.
It's funny, when Apple opened up their stores, everybody was like, "This is the stupidest idea you've ever heard
Yeah.
of. Like, why are you doing this?" And I mean, this was everybody who is big into tech at the time. They were saying this is going to be a huge flop. There's no good reason to get into retail. Of
Yep.
course, clearly Apple was right about that, and Microsoft followed them so much so that they even followed the same thing that happened in like the 80s with the burger franchises, where
Hmm.
McDonald's did all this research into figuring out where's the best place to put a burger place. And then
Right.
Burger King said, okay, we could spend money on that research, or we could just buy a lot across from McDonald's. And they stole all of their research, and Microsoft pretty much did the same thing.
Yep.
There's a lot of places with an Apple store. There's a
Yep.
Microsoft store nearby as well. And I see that Google is jumping into this too. They've
Right.
got, I mean, it makes sense that Google's last to the party. They haven't traditionally been a company that makes physical objects. In the
Right.
last few years, obviously they have, but traditionally they've just been a software company and a search
Yep.
company and an advertising company. They haven't been a like they even had to make a URL that was like made by .google.com.
Right.
So I think that this is great, and
Yep.
I think that this the more people that you can get those sweet, sweet wasabi controllers in front of, the better that Stadia is going to do. I hope that they continue to push to get these things into other stores as well, because there's not going to be a lot of people that are going to go to the Google store just to browse. You know what I mean? They're going to go in there when they know what they're looking for generally.
Exactly. Yeah, it's great. We had a Sony store here in Winnipeg back when Apple stores happened, and they were all the big thing. And then Microsoft was coming up with stores, and then Sony says, "Well, we have stores all over the country, and we can service you just as good." And I went into one of the Sony stores because there was a new game that came out. I can't remember what it was, and I was like, "Hey, do you have a copy of blah?" And they're like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Oh no, it's a game on PlayStation." "Oh, PlayStation. Oh yeah, I guess we kind of sell that. It's over in the corner." And I went into the corner, and it was pretty much all like games that came out at launch, and it was like iToy and like other stuff that didn't sell anywhere else was all in this Sony store. And I'm like, yeah, no, Sony, you're not doing it right. It seems like Google is doing it the right way. So yeah, hopefully this comes to other parts of the world. And I'd love to see some up in Canada, more places in the States, because if you're advertising uh, and you sell stuff that is mainly only available online, it's really important to get out in front of consumers. So this is a really good thing.
All right. You know what? I speaking of okay, I don't have a good transition for this. I tried to come up with a segue. This is going to be the segment without a segue, which I think should be a new segment. The segment without a segue. Anyway, Division Heartland. I love Division 2.
Hmm.
That game is fantastic. It is my favorite looter shooter. I like it better than Destiny. I like it better than Borderlands. I know, Lloyd, don't get mad at me. But I love the Division, and they are making a free to play version called Division Heartland. And it's going to be on PC, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PS5, Xbox Series, and Google Stadia. And you can sign up to play test Tom Clancy's The Division Heartland early. Just go to I'll throw a link in the description in a minute while Lloyd's talking. But basically, whatever this is, I am excited for it because The Division is awesome. I did not expect to like that game, and I adore that game. It's fantastic. Are you going to be signing up to play this, Lloyd?
I did the second that sign up was available. I signed up to beta test, play test, whatever this is going to be on Google Stadia. Hopefully that happens at some point in the future. I'd love to play more games. But yeah, it's. I mean, this is coming from Ubisoft, so it's not a surprise. But isn't it so nice seeing a beta test page like this, and the Stadia logo is big and bright and ready to be selected, and just showing people that, hey, this is still a thing. You might not think it's a thing, but it's definitely a thing. So having this available on Stadia is going to be a great thing. And yeah, I definitely can't wait to see what Heartland is. We don't really have many details at all. So yeah, the next big Division thing coming out on Stadia is a good thing in my books.
Absolutely. And if you are watching this right now and you hit refresh, the description down below will now have a link that will take you. It's under the sources section of the description on YouTube, and it'll take you to the sign up page for the Division Heartland, which I'm hyped for. Free to play MMO. I'm always excited for those, especially if you can, if the way that they monetize it is with microtransactions, where you can have pink headphones or something as you're running around killing the enemy. I'm all set. I'm all for that.
Right.
Let's move on to our final segment, which is when we respond to the super chats that came in during the show. Before we get there, though, I just want to say we've been running a poll on whether or not people are going to be picking up Madden 22. We started it at the beginning of the show, and we got almost 160 votes. And it says here that 74% of people have said no, they're not picking up Madden 22. Now I wish that I had asked ahead of time, are you picking it up? Are you not picking it up because you have Madden 21 or because
Right.
you don't like football games? Like, what's the reason that you're not picking it up? You guys can all tell us in the comments or in the comment section down below, or if you're here with us live, you can use the chat and we'll see that as well. Speaking of super chats, thank you very much to Sugotronic, who every single week sends in a super chat with no comment. We do appreciate it. And then we got one from Geek Da Sneak. He says, they say, hey guys, I purchased a Nerd Nest tee last night. Love the channel. Keep doing what you do. Thank you very much for that. For those of you that don't know, we do have it's like some merch that you can pick up if you go to our YouTube channel and you click on like the merchandise section. You can see all the different options of stuff that we have. In fact, we recently, I don't know if people saw this or not, but we recently posted a new logo that has like the Nerd Nest logo, but it's using the Stadia gradient. So you can check that out by checking out our merch on Spring, or just go to youtube.com/nerdnest, and then you can click on the button down below the video. But thank you very much, Geek to Sneak, for supporting the show, both with a super chat and by picking up a cool shirt.
That's awesome. Yeah, the Stadia gradient looks fantastic on that logo. So yeah, that's a sharp shirt. Good for people that want to look cool this summer. I don't know. That's what people say about clothing. I've never advertised clothing before.
I didn't know that's what people would say about stuff. If you want to look cool this summer, you gotta wear a Nerd Nest shirt.
Haven't you read the How to Sell T-Shirts manual that they give out all the time? That's like number one.
I feel like we need to make like a doofy commercial, like an 80s style ridiculous commercial. I don't know. I'm going to think about maybe doing something like that. Not because I think it'll help sell shirts or whatever, but because I think it will be fun to do. And I've been getting more into, like, if you've been watching the videos that I've been posting, I've been like doing more work into like the video editing and making things look different just for the sake of learning how to do it. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll make like a weird 80s commercial because that'll be funny.
You have to have the really awkward guy that's super sweaty and it's like, hi, my name is Fred and I'm here for Stadia Shirt Emporium, and doing all weird actions. You need to get that guy, because that, like, all the really bad local commercials that people post online, they always has that guy, and that guy's the best.
All right, that seems to be it for today's episode of Stadiacast. Thank you, everybody, for coming here and watching us live, or supporting us with the super chats or memberships, or any of that stuff. You guys are all awesome. Now, before we do get out of here, I just want to let everybody know that Lloyd and I are going to test something after the podcast. We just want to see how it works. So if you haven't joined our Discord yet, hop in. Uh-oh, he just disappeared, and now there's two of me. Oh. Oh my goodness. He disappeared on me, and he's probably going to show back up.
I just realized what I did.
Oh, okay.
I hit a to go check something, and of course it got me right out of this video call because you can't have two things open at once. So that's not
Yeah.
going to work because we're using Discord for all this stuff, Bill. So we won't be able to have our faces. You won't be able to have my face if I join the thing.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah, we
Uh,
can't do it then.
no, it's not going to work. I wish the other service would stop dropping. I think what the issue, Bill, is me and you. The way that we're situated, they're keep they're
Hold that thought for 1 second. That's it for
sure.
this week's Stadia
Oh,
cast. I got
I
to
thought
end
we
the
were out.
audio show.
Sorry. I thought we were out. I was rambling. Sorry, people.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Stadiacast. If you haven't checked out the YouTube channel, make sure you go over to nerdnest.tv. All right, I'm going to stop recording now.
Sorry, I thought you already did that. My
No,
bad.
I forgot. I don't think I ever ended, like, I don't think I ever did like a sign off thing. And then,
And then I disappeared.
all right, what were you saying?
I was gonna say, I think for some reason the network between me and you, like all the little wires that has to go through between me and you, there's an issue there because we've had this issue before where just randomly video will pixelate on Discord, but it's less likely on Discord because that's a central server. Than when we're doing things like when we're doing Tabletop Simulator, we're connecting to you, and sometimes my ping will go from like 80 that it normally is to like 300 just randomly, which is really weird. I don't understand why that happens. So there must be some network congestion between me and you, which is making that Video Ninja not work because you are the server that is receiving and sending data back and forth. It's not a central service.
Yeah, I wish we could figure it out because that would allow us to do so many things. And then the whole problem that we were running into where we were hearing ourselves twice, like I know that there's a way to do this and I really want to be able to do it because I think it would
Yeah.
be very, very cool. Speaking of Tabletop Simulator, obviously we're not doing it this week. But if you are a member, look for at some point in the future some member only streams that are Lloyd and myself and our D&D group playing D&D just for members. So we're trying to, you know how Google is trying to add value to people who subscribe to Stadia Pro. We're trying to find a way to add value to people who are members and support us that way. So we're going to be doing that at some point in the near future, probably like right after a show. We'll be like, all right, and if you're a member, stick around. We're going to play some D&D. And we've got like this cool table with like little miniature figures that we're moving around with, and we're rolling dice and we're having fun, and it's going to be really, really fun. And Lloyd, I figured out a cool way for to get two different views so nobody can see my stuff because I'm the DM and I don't want people
Ah,
to be able to see that. And when you see this, you're going to be like, okay, that is really cool. Kodiak helped me with it. It's a very cool thing. So make
awesome.
sure that if you haven't joined, click on the join button so that you can get access to those members only streams.
It's wonderful. Nah, it's going to be a lot of fun. The D&D that we've been playing has been really great, and I mean, we're not like Critical Role or anything. We're not going to come in costume and
No.
be on camera and act things out like we're we do Shakespeare in the park on our spare time. We're not doing any of that stuff, but it's going to be fun. It's going to
Well,
be fun if people want to just watch in what we're doing. We do some role playing.
yeah,
Not
and
saying
we
there's
yell
none of
out
that.
ice knife.
We do all the time. Yeah, that's one of that's our catchphrase. We'll have to make a T-shirt with ice knife on it, for sure. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll see what happens, if people are excited about this stuff or not.
Yeah. All right. It's time for us to get out of here. To all the
Hmm.
fathers out there that watch our stuff, happy Father's Day. To all the children out there that watch our stuff, go call your dad. Thank you very much. You guys are awesome. We'll see you
All
next
right,
time.
later, everybody.